What is up, viewers? Vilarx back here. This is the October 10th Vancouver Canucks home game against the Ottawa Senators, and this is a little post-game talk. I just finished up watching the game, and I wanted to get a little bit of opinions and stuff out there, because this was an interesting game to watch. So, starting things off in the first period, Markstrom, he lets in an early goal. It was iffy, it was really loose on the play there. He makes a save, it sneaks right through, he doesn't get the glove on it, he gets the puck absorbed into his equipment, and it sneaks out the backside, it trickles over the net. So, everyone was kind of like, okay, what's going on here? But then it's okay, because Markstrom immediately redeems himself with a sprawling save, immediately following the goal. So, the first period was kind of an interesting one, because the Sedins. I want to talk about the Sedins. They were having a little bit of success a bit earlier. They were playing with the puck down low. The puck found its way back to Tanev. Tanev is able to snipe it in. It's 1-0 Vancouver. And as well as Vertanen, he played well in the first half. There was a Burrows video, so that was great. I love Burrows. And then we had the delayed penalty shift. And this is where I want to talk about the Sedins, because the Sedins were trying to do drop passes during this delayed penalty shift, and we weren't even in the offensive zone. We were in our zone. We were in the neutral zone. They were trying to do these passes, and they weren't working. So they kept on doing it a little bit more. The Sedin-Vanek line was overall slow. I didn't like it at this moment in the game. The Canucks weren't able to break in. The pucks always found their way back into our zone or behind our net, and it was such a sloppy shift. Oh my goodness, that was the worst thing I've seen all day. If you could find the period 1 Vancouver Canucks delayed penalty shift with Hutton on the ice as well, that was god-awful. And Ottawa eventually gets possession after the Canucks give it up in the neutral zone, and John Cheech, he even says there's too many drop passes at the offensive blue line for the Canucks. So, the Canucks respond. Horvat follows it up with a lot of good chances. He has a lot of high-energy maneuvers. He has a nice spinning shot, too, which is really good. That was nice to watch. Eventually, there's more penalties in the game, but overall, it's a slow game. So, yeah, Ottawa was able to clear it a lot. Dorsett took another penalty. That was a double minor. That was kind of bad. Canucks penalty kill. We basically ended the period on the penalty kill, and they did a good job. They killed off the 4 minutes. They spent the majority of the time in the Canucks zone. Didn't really clear it as much, but that's really because Ottawa was just playing the possession game very strongly. This game was boring compared to the Edmonton game. And, that's what happens when you play a team like Ottawa, but that's how the first period went. The second period, there were a lot of good chances there as well. Immediately, I think about Dorsett getting stoned by Anderson off of a 2-on-1 pass from Granlund, and I really liked watching that. Anderson, fantastic positioning on that play, gave Dorsett nothing to shoot at. Vertanen also played greatly. He had good speed and power forward moves, as well as Markstrom. He was making a lot of good saves as well. It was at this point, though, at the second period, that there is just a lot of back and forth. Dump and chase one way, dump and chase the other way. Occasional good shots on net from both teams. Markstrom was able to settle in a little bit more, easing into the game after letting in that very quick early one in the first period. And, overall it was just kind of boring in this span of the game until Jake Vertanen, he draws a penalty. And on the power play, Daniel gets caught, and there's a moment in the power play where Ottawa clears it down, and it's not really fast, but it's kind of fast to the point where it gets to the Canucks hash marks, and Daniel's chasing after the puck. But the thing is, he was kind of slow, and that ended up in him getting caught. He got immediately caught up to and beaten to the puck by Smith, I believe, and the Canucks end up being hemmed, short-handed in their zone for a little bit. Markstrom's forced to make some saves. Eventually the play is dead, and the power play is just not coordinated at this point. In case you're wondering, Berchi took a penalty later, and it became a 4-on-4, and, That's what happens in Canucks games. Later on, it gets picked up a little bit more. The crowd, I was really impressed with the crowd in this game. It was a really feisty crowd. They chanted defense a lot, which is what I liked that a lot. They also chanted MVP as well as the common "Go Canucks Go, Go Canucks Go." At this time as well, we get some good opportunities from both sides. Del Zotto is doing well. Hoffman rings one off the post, and eventually, Henrik wins a face-off. It goes back. I believe it was Stetcher to Vanek. And Vanek shoots and he scores. It was Vanek to Stetcher to Vanek, I believe. Yeah, that's what happened. Vanek scores on the far side snipe with a good screen by Henrik. So that was pretty good. I mean, Vanek is settling into his role with the Canucks, which is going to be fetching us a second-round pick. So, yeah, we just got a future draft pick scoring for us in this game. So the Canucks, they end the period 2-1, and that was pretty good. Eventually, the third period comes, and it's just dump and chase hockey. There was one opportunity where Horvat picked it up in the neutral zone with huge speed, and he hit the post, and there was another shot save, but other than that, the game is boring. Bobby Ryan to Ryan Dzingel, that results in a goal later on, and this is because Hutton gets caught behind the net, and the Canucks end up with a bad giveaway. Hutton's caught, and eventually it's a cross crease. Vanek wasn't paying attention to the man in the middle, and Hutton is playing particularly poorly during this span of time. Although that wasn't all the defense, though. Tanev maintained strong defensive play the whole time. I was really impressed with Eric Goodbranson and Del Zotto. That pairing was fantastic. And Del Zotto was actually just such a good player overall. He was jumping into the play frequently. Goodbranson was getting shots on. Goodbranson ended the game with 4 shots, playing solid defensively as well. I mean, it was great. On top of that, we have guys like Virtanen and Horvat who continue to play strongly. Markstrom's making some good saves as well, even though he just let one in. And the period ends with a tie game. Eventually, 3-on-3 overtime happens, and the Canucks, well, they start things off with a snipe from Chris Tanev. And, whoa, the Canucks. After this, they're wheeling and dealing. They're just looping around in the Ottawa zone, passing it, trying to look for a good opening. And then Ottawa gets the puck, they come in, and they just play the possession game. They hold on to the puck, they maintain the control, and the Vancouver Canucks defense can't keep up. They're just playing with it, passes back and forth, not really moving around that much. Until eventually, the Canucks, they catch it, and Sven Baertschi comes down with the puck, and it's a breakaway, and he gets stopped. Then the Sedins come back, and they're trying to end the game, and it almost works, but the game ends as a tie. Henrik with some good plays, Daniel with some good plays. The overtime period was a great period for the Sedins, wheeling and dealing with guys like Sven Baertschi and Edler and stuff. But eventually it was tied. We went into a shootout. Granlund scored. Everybody else was stopped. Horvat was stopped as well. I was really impressed with Horvat and his confidence in that shootout attempt. But Turris comes in, he scores. And our last chance is Brandon Sutter roofs it over the net on the backhand. It goes behind the net, and that was like, oh no, what was that, Sutter? Eventually, the things go, more players come in, Tom Pyatt, Gagne, and Mark Stone. Mark Stone comes in, and he wins the game. So, that was the Canucks game. Overall, I think it was not really that entertaining. It was kind of boring, but at the same time, there were some good moments in the game. Of course, we come away with a loser point in this one for losing in the shootout. That's all good, team tank, whatever. But what I really want is I want Boeser to play in the next game against the Jets. Travis Green said about this game, okay, so we won the game in Edmonton with this lineup. That's why we're keeping the same lineup. That's why Boeser is not playing. So, because they lost, that means Boeser, please, just give Boeser a chance. Other notes about the game, Markstrom, he was playing greatly, except for when he wasn't playing greatly. And what I mean by that is, he was good. And he made a lot of good saves, but when he was shaken up, it was really obvious. And he did let in one bad goal that, of course, it's a bad goal. Bad goals happen. But Markstrom was yelling in the hallways after this game was concluded because he knew that, well, this was a really good game for him. 40 saves and 42 shots. Del Zotto, he had 25 minutes in this game. And I'm okay with that. I was fine with Del Zotto's playing. I loved how he was playing. He was getting really involved in the plays and setting up a lot of good offensive maneuvers. Him and Goodbranson, that's a surprisingly good pairing. I'm really looking forward to seeing that pairing in the future. Speaking of duos, Horvat and Virtanen, these two are really good. I loved this showing from these two. Ottawa, they had a good possessive game. I mean, they held on to the puck when they needed to. The Canucks, they're going to make changes. Burrows, this was his coming back game, so that was all good. Virtanen had 5 shot attempts in total at one point during the third period, so I thought that was good for him. Goodbranson and Horvat, they had the shot leading stat for the Canucks. They each had 4. But overall, you know, all I want is just for Boeser to play. In terms of players that I didn't really like Stecher and Hutton, not gonna lie. Hutton got caught in the goal that resulted in the game being tied. Stecher, I wasn't really impressed too much. I mean, he made some good decisions, but that pairing of him and Hutton, I don't think it was particularly strong tonight. Of course, you know, you can't expect that much from those two since they're both young, but I was really impressed with Branson Del Zotto, not really impressed with Stecher and Hutton. Granlund was also a player that I didn't really think had that much of an impact up until the shootout. He was kind of invisible in my opinion, but you know, that's just me. So overall, that's the game. The Canucks lose 3-2 in the shootout. Thank you, Markstrom. If you guys want to talk about this, you can do it in the comments section below if you really want to. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Posting your dollars or souls like Nascral Slang Gaming, and bye.